Hello, Joy. Welcome back. Good to have you.
Mr. Hewitt, it's good to talk to you again.
Now, are you depressed? The president's down to 39% in the opinion poll approval at Gallup. Are you sad and depressed?
I'm crushed. I don't know how I'm going to wake up in the morning. I can't go on, Hugh. I can't.
How low will he go, do you think? You think he'll hit 35%?
I don't know given how off Gallup was in the 2012 election, I think maybe on Gallup he could go to like 12, and then that would really mean he's at 40.
So that doesn't really reflect the reality that 39% is not a reality check?
Well, listen, I think, I recall during the George W. Bush administration, he would hit, in the 40s, and he would still be said to be an enormously popular president. I mean, these things come and go. Look, people, after a while, get weary of any president. Presidents sort of, either if you have a really great economy like Bill Clinton, you can kick off on a real high sort of into your second term, but it ebbs and flows. And look, he's had a terrible news cycle. This has been a really rough news cycle. The media got tired of bashing Republicans for shutting down the government, and now they're logging on to healthcare.gov and bashing that. So when you have a bad news cycle, yeah, your polls go down. It's kind of a weird quirk of our business that we drag down a politician and then we poll it and we go, oh, my God, look at their numbers, how bad they are.
Well, here's what the president said today in his own defense. Cut number one.
You have or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law, and you really liked that plan. What we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law's passed.
Now, Joy, that's not true, is it? He didn't say if it hasn't changed. He said you could keep it, period.
Well, this is one of those cases where compression is not always your friend, Hugh. Okay, so here's the deal. I was trying to think of an analogy to this. I was trying to come up with one that would sort of be simple and make sense. And the one I came up with was DDT, right? So maybe your audience, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember, DDT used to be the pesticide of choice, like, right, in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s. Everybody used DDT, and people really liked it. It's like, this is very effective. It's a wonderful pesticide. And then all of a sudden, this book came out in 1962 that raised alarms about how dangerous DDT was, and it got outright banned in 1972. Now, had the government in 1972 said, listen, if you love your pesticide, you can keep it, it would have been wrong. Because the truth is, if your pesticide contained DDT, it was now illegal. So you'd have to buy a totally different pesticide and use that on your garden. And what the White House really made a mistake in doing is trying to compress a really complex situation into one line.
Actually, Joy, I think DDT stands for Don't Deceive Truth Tellers, because here's Clarence Page from your network. This is Clarence Page talking about the president's many-time promises. He knew he was lying?
Probably. But that's one of those political lies.
Yeah, so do you agree with Clarence that the president was lying when he made those DDT promises you're referring to?
I think that this is actually an absurd argument. We're talking about 3% of people who get individual purchase insurance. If your policy is now illegal under law, you're going to get a letter from your insurer saying this policy is no longer compliant. You can have that policy. If you don't like that policy, you can shop on the exchange. That is not the same as saying that that the president is now a complete liar and your insurance is being canceled. Insurance companies do this all the time. You've had insurance. I've had insurance.
Joy, I understand all that, but that's 15 million people. Does it count if the president only lied to 15 million people, or are you saying he didn't lie to those 15 million people?
Random number, and I think that the issue here is that the president compressed something that is really complex.
Compress? This is good. Oh, you're good, Joy.
And it was a one-liner that didn't work.
You're very good.
Insurance that's not legal anymore. You have to have new insurance.
Yeah, but that compressed.
It's not legal. It's got to go.
Okay, so instead of lying, he merely compressed the truth. Now, here's what Jonathan Alter said on and I'm just showing you what the MSNBC people said, Joy. Here's the exchange with Clarence. He knew he was lying?
Probably. But that's one of those political lies.
Do you agree with Clarence?
Wow. I don't know exactly how to react to that.
Joy, you're the last one on MSNBC who's defending the president is not lying.
I find this to be very entertaining, Hugh, and I know that this is a line that you're doing because your audience can't stand Barack Obama. But at the end of the day, let's talk about the facts. The facts are that if you have insurance that no longer complies with the law, and by the way, that's because it doesn't cover health, it doesn't cover mental health, or it doesn't cover maternity leave. If you have junk insurance, it's no longer legal. I don't really think that that is the biggest crisis facing American healthcare. The biggest crisis is that insurance companies were selling garbage policies to people, and now they can't do that.
But Joy, this isn't about this is, we can argue all day about whether or not Obamacare is a disaster, and I think it is, and you don't think it is. This is about credibility. Ron Fournier today, and Ron, he wrote, "The president is now misleading the public about his deception." That's in the National Journal. Everybody knows he's lying. Shouldn't you do an intervention and help him to get off of the lying?
I think that this is a clever sidebar that is irrelevant to the rollout of health care reform.
Does the president's truth-telling matter?
Well, Hugh, you're making a specious argument. The argument is about whether 3% of people who have insurance that might be junk policies can hold on to those junk policies or have to trade them in for a new policy. No one's having their insurance canceled. They're having to go to compliant policies.
But Joy, that's
for it. It doesn't change the fact.
That's a different subject. I'm just asking whether or not the president's credibility matters. Does it matter if little children can look at the president and say the president's not a liar?
Little children are not looking at the president and saying, "Oh my God, my fourth place horrible insurance is going away. The president's a liar." That's not what people are going to look at health care for. They're looking at whether it works and whether they're getting better coverage. That's what people are going to remember. This is an entertaining sidebar. It's great for you, great for your show, not relevant.
No, but it is. It is whether or not the president is telling the truth. Ron Fournier is not a conservative talk show host, right? He is the center of the center. And when he writes in the National Journal, the president is now misleading the public about his deception, don't you have a crisis of credibility? Has Barack Obama gone LBJ?
Gone LBJ? No, I don't. Well, only in the sense that LBJ passed he signed two landmark pieces of legislation. Well, actually 3 if you count Medicare. Well, maybe in that sense he's on LBJ. This is a complicated health care plan. It's got to be rolled out properly. The White House has done a terrible job at messaging. Terrible. And I don't think that that's arguable. But I don't think it changes the substance of the policy, which is overall good.
Now, I got to ask you,